Awesome, awesome. Well, Trey Kennedy got the Grow Up Comedy Tour coming up on Friday night at Hollywood Casino. Trey, I got to know, how's touring life been so far? I know you've done this before. This isn't, something you're a stranger to, but how is the, life on the road experience with doing the stand-up stuff?
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's good. It has its ups and downs, but luckily my crew is like a lot of good friends, and we get along great. I think that's a huge part of it. Like any job, you show up, you're with each other all the time. So we have a blast. It's tough to leave behind my wife and kid, but seeing everyone on the road and not just being like behind a camera or uploading to the internet and getting in the room with my fans is just the best. So I know I've always heard that like people in my position, the actual on stage is the fun part. It's the rewarding part. It's kind of like we're getting paid to travel all around and get on a million flights and stuff. So it comes with the territory, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, does the family get to come and see some of the shows every now and again?
The first tour, we didn't have a kid yet. My wife came on the road with me, and we had a blast. And now she picks and chooses what works, maybe with or without the kid. We're gonna have, not this weekend, but I have a tour date closer to home in a couple weeks, and we're gonna do the first night on the bus with the baby. So he's gonna have his bunk. So we'll see how that goes. But she picks and chooses. She doesn't seem to come out to shows in like Iowa, but she came to the Florida shows and Hawaii shows. So
Nice.
she really has
the ones with sunny weather and the attractions seem to be the ones that work well.
Right, that's the one. She's like, okay, I'll do it for you. I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll go to Hawaii. It's a major sacrifice, but we'll make it
For
happen.
sure, yeah.
Well, honestly, what's awesome is with, your tour, you found so many ways, obviously, with your content to, not only make hilarious content, but target so many great specific demos. Obviously for myself, like I'm a reality TV nerd, but I also love to golf, and you've found ways to really touch on both of those points there. And that's really kind of where your strong suit, I feel like, is just, finding those pieces of content that are just so relatable and hilarious all at the same time. From the stand-up comedy perspective, what can fans of your content and your videos online really expect with the stand-up show?
Yeah, like you're saying, I kind of like I picked up golf naturally late in life, and I just made jokes about that experience. If you know, it's like golf is so infuriating, it's fun, and then I just the stuff that's authentic to me. Where my wife and I we binge watch Love Is Blind, so I've been making content about that because I'm just in it, and so that's really always been my thing. Is just what am I genuinely interested in and experiencing in life, and finding the humor in that, and that's what you can kind of expect from me on stage. It's stand up, but we do some video elements since that's what people know from me. We try to give a variety. I do some musical bits, and it's a lot of just what I'm going through. I became a dad a year ago. Been married for a few years now. Just kind of and then a little more getting to know me too, which I don't think I've done a bunch in the past. I'm just kind of making jokes, but with this hour, I try to get a little more vulnerable and honest and personal with kind of where I came from, how I grew up, what it's like trying to raise my son to grow up. So that's kind of what you can expect. And we're kind of winding down this tour, and we've been over like 75 cities already, and we've had a great response. So I'm excited to come out to the casino. It's almost sold out. It's amazing. So I'm super excited to get out there, and I've never been to West Virginia, the state, in my life. We're playing the Virginias this weekend, and I'm excited.
I was going to say, are you going to get a little bit of time to do some sightseeing, or at least kind of see some of the stuff out the window, I guess, right?
Yeah, that at the very least. But yeah, I'm hopeful to, we're in Charleston and Charlestown, which that's, I think, cause I've had quite a few emails. People are like, I bought the wrong city. Charlestown, back-to-back
Luckily,
nights,
they're like a 2.5 hour drive. Like, they can kind of, just make some arrangements there. Yeah, I feel like that's a stand-up segment in itself is doing two towns that basically sound exactly the same.
I don't know where I am, but hoping I can get a little bit of that West Virginia landscape I've heard so much about. But casino is I never have a bad time at casino. We'll have a fun show, and see them on the tables, man. give some money back to the casino paying me to be there. It's the least I can do.
There we go.
And
It's
we'll
a
have great
win.
time.
Yeah. Now, a sidebar, and hopefully a win, I guess I should say, with a casino. You never know. But, you know, a sidebar too, my girlfriend and I actually just finished binging Love is Blind. I got to know, what is your takeaway of the entire season as a whole? Spoiler alert to anybody.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I just don't know how I'm blown away by these producers of these shows. I had a big Bachelor. I've winded down on my Bachelor fandom, but when that was at its height, I was like, this is amazing. And Love is Blind feels like the next iteration of like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's so entertaining. And it's easy to make fun of these people. Credit to them. If you had broadcast my wife and I's like first few fights when like we were just young and dumb, it's like, it'd be pretty humiliating, I bet. I said some things that like, this guy's crazy, but you know, I think it was obvious who we knew would end up together and who wouldn't, and
Yeah.
but now you have the post-show little, like they're at the airport together. Anyway, I could talk about this a long time, but go watch.
Yeah,
it
I
if
mean,
you haven't. Great show.
the reunion is going to be absolutely chaotic. You know, there's just so many pieces of those last couple episodes, especially like the one where, you know, Laura's talking about her whole entire breakup situation while her ex and the new girl are just driving around on jet skis in the background of the shot. Like,
Yeah, it's just too good. It's really amazing.
yeah, the producers are wild. Now, you know, you obviously started out and kind of, you know, really hit your groove with the content creation kind of in that Vine era. And then it's kind of grown obviously into, you know, TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. You know, how have you kind of seen yourself kind of evolving your personal brand, I think, really just over the last couple of years as every single kind of mode of content creation has changed so drastically year to year?
Yeah, and it's changed a bunch. I've been doing this like over a decade now, which is crazy. My first viral video was in 2013, and I was just making like I'd say the first iteration was just slapstick, goofy videos, dancing, singing, you know, really G-rated. Like I think that was my initial like trying to make people laugh. Is I don't want to upset anyone. Like very very clean and kind of came into my own a little bit more, like, oh, I can make fun of people like I do my friends or family, and people, if you do it right, people enjoy that. Everyone who comes to my shows is like, make fun of me, you know? So I evolved into longer videos, and it went from 6 seconds to 60 seconds to 3 minutes. Now we're back to like 30 seconds. You know, it's always changing, which makes it fun. And then the added big change of trying to make jokes funny live on stage is a whole nother muscle. And you know, podcasting now, people want to hear you try to be funny for an hour plus, and so I'm trying to do it all and learn, and I'm grateful for the challenge of trying to keep up with it, because I do think it's made me a better comedian, because I've had to just adapt and challenge myself and learn new ways to get views and hopefully entertain people. But we'll see what's next. I don't know. It's great. Now TikTok, they might ban it. Who knows? It's just,
hopefully we just see the return of Vine. Like somebody just buys that IP, and we just go right on back to the 7-second videos and we'll be all good. Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Do you find that like the podcasting stuff really helps with the stand-up special? Because it's kind of like, look, you've got an hour of, you know, material that you're working at, you know, you just kind of have a supporting person there talking back to you, I guess.
A little bit. I mean, it's kind of all of it helps. All of it, you know, it's like, okay, I talk with for an hour plus, and there's been a couple bits that are now on stage where it was like a quick joke that the podcast listeners responded to, and I developed that into a 3-minute bit, or maybe that joke turns into a video, or is there an Instagram story I'm trying to be funny and is that a video now? So you're always doing this, and everything I'm experiencing in real time, that my notes app jokes I'm jotting down, like, is this podcast, is this video, is it stand up? Is it an Instagram story? And I don't know if the perfect formula for making those decisions, but I just kind of just go with my gut, and yeah, it's fun, man.
Yeah, and I love that the going with the gut mentality always seems to work really well for everybody, because it's like, you know, a lot of times the most successful short form videos are the ones where you're just shooting from the hip and you're like, all right, this is a trending thing. I'm going to make something real quick in 5 minutes and see what happens. And then you end up getting a ton of views, or you plan for an hour and it gets, you know, 20 views.
Yeah, that's always everyone's experienced that if you're in the content world, and the stage is kind of similar. I feel like some of the bits people love the most were ones I'm like, oh, this happened to me like an hour ago. Let me talk about it tonight. And it's like, oh, thank God we found a great bit. And others I'm like laboring in like a writing session. Like I've just written a genius thing, and you just tell it on stage.
You have an Excel spreadsheet ready with it.
Yeah, it's like connected. It's like the crimes I'm connecting with like yarn. I'm like, this is brilliant. And then you say it on stage, and people are like yawning. You're like, oh, well.
Great.
I thought so, but that's what's great about comedy too. It's really not up to me. It's like, okay, that's clear. That's not funny, and move on.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned earlier that, kind of starting out, you try to develop your comedy in a way that you didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, didn't want to make anybody mad. But over time, obviously, it's just kind of inevitable that you're going to offend someone with some of your jokes. And I know, like, in the past, I've seen some of your rebuttals to, different content on the podcast, like the hair color thing seemed to really resonate on my TikTok feed for a couple of weeks. What was your kind of most memorable moment of offending someone with your comedy over the years?
Yeah, I think, early on too, it's like I would offend one person, and I'd be that's all I thought about for a day. And now you let it roll off your back. But the colored hair bit, that kind of took on a life of its own. And now I have fans come to the show who meet me with blue hair, and they're like, "Do you hate me?" And they're like good sports. But yeah, for those who don't know, again, you're just saying things for an hour on a podcast. I said this one joke that I thought of a couple years ago that I had said on stage a couple times. I was like, I don't know if I wanted to say it on stage, because it is kind of not totally my humor. It's pretty alienating, but I threw it on a podcast. Like, I love when people dye their hair blue, because it's nice to just know immediately I don't want to talk to them. And it was like, haha, funny. But, unbeknownst to me, people who dye their hair crazy colors are very passionate about that. I got 1,000 TikToks made about me, like, we don't want to talk to you either. And my initial reaction was like, oh my!
They were going after your hairline, right? Like it got like, pretty nasty.
Your brown receding hair. I was like, neck beard. I hadn't heard that since high school. I was like, really? And I feel like I'm lining it up okay. And and my gut reaction was like, should I like delete? I didn't like this. I don't want to be that comedian. I'm like, But this day and age, you learn like the worst. What makes it worse is if you just get on there and like, I'm sorry, and I was like, I knew I just had to double down and try to make it funny and hopefully win over some of those people so mad at me. So I did a sarcastic, like, you know what, I'm so sorry, I'm offending people, and I'd rather do anything than offend people. I'd rather dye my hair blue than to defend. And kind of like this funny edit where we threw together all the people like insulting me, and that went super viral too. And so I think and I hope it ended on like a, what, this doesn't matter. It's not like I hate people who dye their hair blue, but that was... And
people that know your brand and your personality have that understanding of knowing, like, okay, like he's saying this with love. It's like, respectfully, here are my thoughts on turquoise hair. Like it's that kind of thing. They know, like, deep down, like, okay, like he's not like going to bed at night constantly thinking about how much he can't stand people with blue hair. Like,
yeah, I mean, it is just fascinating what I thought that was an innocent joke, and turns out people are pretty fired up about that. But yeah, that comes with the territory, and hopefully people that are real fans and know, like, I'm not some evil person. I'm just trying to say stuff. And turquoise hair, I'll talk to you, okay? I don't hate you. I just
anybody coming to West Virginia, if you've got turquoise hair, like, he will have a conversation with you. We promise.
I will. Come say hey. I don't know how many of those are in West Virginia, but I'd love to meet you.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, lastly too, and thank you again for taking the time to chat. I know you've got a lot of projects that you're working on kind of really, all at once. And I know you wrap up the stand-up comedy tour coming up on Cinco de Mayo, by the way. Was that on purpose? Like, are you going, throwing a little party that night too, or?
No, I didn't even, that's going to be so fun. We're out in California on Cinco de Mayo. I think one of my guys threw that out, like, we have some friends out there. He's like, and it's on Cinco de Mayo. I was like, oh yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Bring your
and what's next after the tour then?
We're taping the special soon, so we're gonna hopefully do something really cool with that. Just wind down this tour, keep making content, and we have a couple projects in the works that aren't ready to be spoken of yet, but hopefully, before the year's done, I have a couple cool updates from what we're working on, beyond just videos and whatnot. But just keep doing what I'm doing, man, and we'll see where the comedy takes me. But yeah, if you're out, the tickets are at TreyKeenan.com/tour. A few left, and if it sells out, come on over to Charlestown. Charleston. I don't even know what Charleston. I don't know.
Charlestown
That's like
Charlestown.
this cardinal sin. Yeah, that's a cardinal sin from a performer where like we do the road so much, the fans don't care. But like twice in my career have I been like, Louisville, and it's like we're in Cincinnati, and they're like, what? And so I'm gonna really lock in for Charleston and Charlestown because
you got a couple of days to hammer that down and learn country roads at the same time.
Deal. I already got that one down, no problem. So if I do mess it up, I'll just start the song and we'll all be friends. It'll be fine.
There we go. I love it. Trey Kennedy, Grow Up Comedy Tour, Hollywood Casino on Friday night. Thank you again for taking the time, and have a good week, man.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. Yeah, good to meet you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, bro. Have a good one.